thinking critically. And then the fourth one is effective communication. So being able to communicate your ideas effectively. Now, if you want your ideas to sell out, you want to turn your ideas into wealth, you must be able to communicate your ideas to not just the people that would accept your ideas. You must be able to communicate your ideas to shareholders, partners, consumers. Basically, being able to communicate your ideas effectively. That's one of the skills of an innovative thinker. And then the fifth one, we have collaboration. So they say that no man is a one-man islander. I don't really know how to say it, but basically it means that when you want to build, stellar stuff, you want to build global solutions, you want to build great ideas, great stuff, then you may need to collaborate with people. You may need to work with people. And one of the skills of an innovative thinker is being able to collaborate effectively. When you have this, I saw one picture of a woman selling beans and a woman selling bread. They were working together. That is collaboration, right? Because if I don't really like eating bread like that. So if I want to eat bread, if I see that, oh, there's beans, say, okay, let me just buy from you and buy from you. And I don't like eating beans like that. I think these guys are really like eating beans like that. I don't know. Well, I don't like eating beans, but if there's bread to go with, maybe if I see I'm very hungry and I see only the woman selling beans, I'm like, I don't want to buy because I can't eat beans anymore. But when I see both of them working together, I say, oh, okay, you should come, I will buy bread, I'll buy beans, and my stomach will enjoy it. So that's basically being able to collaborate effectively. So moving on, we're talking about potential. Remember, the topic is still innovative thinking, cracking the mental code to unlocking your potential and turning your ideas into wealth. So potential from the Latin word is potent, and that means being able to. So I said that potential is having the ability to become. Having the ability to become. So potential is someone's or something's ability to develop, achieve something, or succeed. So they all say, oh, you have potential, you have potential, you have potential, you have potential. Basically, what that means is that you have the ability to become somebody. You have the ability to produce something of global relevance, right? So that is potential. And then the next one is wealth creation. So I take my cue from 3 John verse 2. Wealth creation is not simply just money, just having money, right? So let me just quickly read this verse. It says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, just as your soul prospers." I believe that that's scripture, or that verse, just basically signifies all that wealth is. So that is actually wealth. So it's being prospering, not just in money, not just having finance, not just having money, but you're prospering in your relationships with people. You're able to relate well, relate conducively with people, right? Prospering in that area of relationship. So I said in 5 different areas, there are 5 ecologies of wealth, and you're being able to prosper spiritually, in your health, that is fitness, in your mindset, wisdom, and in your money, finance, money, and then relationships. So wealth creation is actually the ability to create a coherence. Coherence is basically like marrying everything together between all the 5 different ecologies of wealth. So if you're not having money and then you're depressed, there's some people, a lot of people who you've heard of, certain popular people who are very rich, they have money. But before you know it, you hear in the news that they committed suicide. And you're like, oh my goodness, if I have that kind of money that person has, why would I kill myself? I will go to this place, I'll go to that place, I will enjoy all the money, I will do this and do that. But that means the fact that they were able to commit suicide. It means that though they had money, they had the physical substance, they had finance, they had money, but they were not prospering in other areas of their life. So wealth is basically prospering in your finance, that's having the physical money. This money that we're standing in long queues to get, having that in abundance, yes. And prospering in your relationships. You're able to relate well with everybody. I'm not going to say everybody because there are some people that are very, very, difficult to deal with, right? But then, having good relationships, you're able to relate well with people and, move freely. And then prospering in your mindset. Mindset, it encompasses all mental health, everything mental health. So you're not depressed, you have money, you're not depressed, you're not suicidal, you're not thinking of committing suicide, And then prospering in your health, you're fit, you're healthy, because if you don't have your health intact, you are going to start using your money to, take care of your health. So your health also needs to be in place. And then spirituality as well. So these are the 5 different ecologies of wealth. So now we have, we're done with the definition of terms. We're going to move into the discussion proper. All right. So we're going to be talking about 3 challenges to wealth creation. 3 challenges to wealth creation. So the first one is racism bias. So I decided to just basically come up with these 3 challenges because, looking at things, looking at basically what has been happening, it just feels like, it's not like these are all the challenges, but these are what I decided to discuss in this session. So the first one, we have racism bias. So we all know what racism is, but for the context of this class, or for this session, right? Racism bias is basically you thinking that, until I Japa from this country, until I leave Nigeria, because I believe that most of us, if not all of us, are Nigerians, and we're here in Nigeria. So basically thinking that, if I don't leave this country, I can't make money. There are a lot of people who think that way. I saw a video recently, I think on Instagram or somewhere, of some people who actually crossed to Europe or somewhere by sea. Now, I don't even know how many days or how many weeks they spent in this sea. Morning and night. They stayed in that sea just because they wanted to leave Nigeria. And when they got there, they were doing this video and they were happy that, finally, I don't land, this and that. And I'm thinking, like, if these people, because the risks involved, I can't swim, so I can't even think of it. I can't even try it. Will I sleep? So I don't know if they slept all through the time they were on the sea. But then if I'm there, I'll not be able to sleep because I'll be like, if I sleep now and this boat capsize, what's going to happen? So let me open my eyes so that when the boat wants to capsize, I will hold it like this. So basically, I won't be able to sleep. Now I'm just wondering that these people, they risked their lives because that is very, very risky. I don't know if all of them could swim, but they risked their life, they put themselves through all of that just to leave Nigeria. And even though they are there, they're illegal citizens there, if they're going to be called citizens. So they're basically, I don't know how they're going to leave because it's very, very illegal being there, going through like the sea and being over there. So they're going to go through a lot of challenges if they ever make it. If they ever make it there, like thrive and they're able to build businesses. I don't know if they want to build a business or they have thoughts of building, a conglomerate or something. But if they ever thrive, make it or try to make it at all, it's going to be very, very hectic. They're going to be living, doing hide and seek, basically. So I was just thinking that day I saw the video that what if these people actually, the risks, because they were able to take a lot of risks, if they put that, that kind of, the fact that, I can take, because majorly business is mostly about taking risks. You need to be able to take risks. So if they can take that kind of risk, I'm sure they can stay here and still build something or do something and, take risks that will basically move them forward. So that's basically what I was thinking, and maybe they had the mindset that, Nigeria is completely bad, which is not true, but we're not going to go into that. But maybe that's the mindset they had, that, if I don't live here right now, I'm going to die. No, it's not me. But maybe that's what they were thinking, and that's why they went. So racism bias is being having that mindset that if you don't if you're not in a particular place, if you're not there, you're not abroad, you're not in the UK, you're not in Canada, you can't make it. But there are lots of people in Nigeria, there are lots of people here that are earning in dollars, that are earning in euros, and one of them will actually, but don't come and beg me, sure. But that's basically what I'm saying. There are lots of people who are here and they are earning, they are making money from the abroad that people are running to. I'm not saying that it's bad to go there. I'm not saying it's wrong to Japa or you should not do that. But you having that mindset that if you can't make money here, you having the mindset that, oh, you cannot actually make money here, that you just have to go there. It's very, very wrong, and it's not true. Because there are lots of people who are here and they are making lots of cash from the abroad, right? So the second one is, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about in racism bias. Excuse me. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is something that, I don't know if it's still happening, but there was a time that, who is a tech bro in Texas? Any tech bro? Okay, we have just one tech bro. Okay, so there was a time that people were like, oh, if you're not in tech, you're not making money. Yes, basically that's what everybody's saying. I'm not in tech actually. I'm not in tech. But I'm not saying that it's not true. Now, when I heard this, I said this coding is me and you. For a first of prayer, I must learn it. So there was my friend, my namesake, she's a, what do they call them? Back-end developer. So I said she will teach me. I told her, see, I want to learn this thing. I need to be making money. They said that is in tech. It's in this thing that all the money is. So all these other skills, there's no money there. So I need to learn it. So I kept on meeting her. Every day she would teach me, but I don't really know where the thing was entering. You enter here, like I do not understand anything. I don't know how people do if I'm doing it. If I see all those these things, black and all those colors, I can just blank out. Like it's not, it cannot enter. I don't know why it could not enter. So I just gave up. I tried and tried. In fact, there was one particular day I cried. I cried to one of my members. I said, "This thing, I want to understand it. Every time I'm doing it, she's teaching me. I'm not getting it." Like it was that bad because I really wanted to, get into tech and start making all the money, because they were just saying that, oh, there's money in tech. I'm not saying there's no money in tech, but because of that mindset that, oh, there's money in tech, I felt like, oh, any other skill, there's no money there. That all the money they have removed. If there was money there before, they have removed it, they have packed it, and they have put it in tech. And so for you to partake of the blessings of the money and everything, you have to enter tech. And that was my mindset. And it frustrated me for months until one day I told her, I said, Julie, I'm not doing this thing again. I'll do what I know how to do best. I know how to write. I talk about mindset. I know I speak. So I'm going to do what I know how to do best. And thankfully, it's paying me. So that is also like, racism bias, thinking that until you get to a particular, you're in a particular career, you can't make money, right? So the next one, but please, if you want to get into tech, please by all means get into tech. There's money there. But you thinking that if you are not in tech, you can't make money, that's a very wrong mindset to have, right? So the second one is environmental background. So environmental background is, excuse me. Environmental background is, coming from, perhaps you were in a very, I don't know what kind of location or how to put it, but basically, okay, there was this time that I stayed in a very, very, very remote location. I don't know if remote is the right word. Yeah, thank you. Trenches is the word. Trenches is the word. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. We cannot relate to trenches, Or, people are coming from the trenches. They feel like, oh, if they're not in this particular area, they can't make money. There was a time when I was fresh out of NYSC, many years back, 5, 6, thereabouts. I got a job, and my parents, they stayed in land, not mainland, not island, but land. I don't know if It's land. let's just
is it
that. Because it's not mainland, it's not island. No, it's not Ikorodu.
It's Ikorodu that you ask for.
Far. Like, I was working, I finally got a job in Leslie, and for me to leave from my parents' place to my workplace, it was like 4 hours. Every single day, I'm telling you. And when I close work by 5 p.m., I get home by 11 p.m.
Is it due to traffic or like that?
Yes, traffic. Traffic, and the road is actually long. The road is towards that, but I side. I don't want to call it where you're big
You're living in
You were
the
not living
States.
in Lagos.
That's what the States now.
That's why she said that.
Land.
Exactly, land of the living, right? So that was where I was staying, and after the first month, because this particular job, it was a job I just got after NYSC. You know, after NYSC, I stayed for some months, and Alawi was no longer coming, and I was down to my last 0 naira, and there was no money on me, so I needed a job desperately. So when I got that job in Lekki phase 1, I still remember that job. I took it with all my heart. The pay was just 70,000 naira, but I was very, very happy to take it. And even though the stress of that job does not compensate for the pay, like having to wake up, I leave my house, my parents' place at 4 a.m. every day, just to get to work early, because I have to get there before 8. I leave my house 4 a.m. and then I get back home by 11 p.m. So after I felt sick like every single month. I was falling sick. So after a while, I said I needed to get an apartment. But obviously, I was earning 70K monthly, and Lekki is 1 million. Where do I want to see the money that I used to get an apartment? So anyway, I got an apartment, not in Lekki phase 1, but there is an area around, not too far from there, but it's trenches, like it's core trenches. And I had to stay there because, in fact, I didn't even have a bed. I just needed a room to stay where I would go to work from there and come back to that place. And, you know, I'm not going through all that traffic and almost running mad, because in Lagos, you can easily run mad with the way things are going. So basically, I just got like a 1-room apartment, and it was obviously in the trenches. Very, 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 very big trenches. And I had to start staying there. It was easier for me to get to work. I didn't have to wake up or leave my house by 4. If I leave my house by 6, 7, I'll get to work early. So that was good for me. But then, living in that environment, there were lots of people smoking, drinking. Like, in fact, you're going to work, they're telling you, oh, fine girl. You know, all of those kind of things. That's basically what that environment was. In fact, when rain falls, I have to literally swim to work. Even though I don't know how to, I have to actually swim to work. The environment was so dirty. I don't know if it's still like that now, but it was so dirty. But then I had to stay there.
It's been a while you went to trenches.
Sorry?
It's been a while you went to trenches. No, I said it's been a while she visited.
Well, glory be to God. Hallelujah. I thank God I'm married to a good husband too. Anyway, back to my story. When I would go to work and come back home, I knew that environment was not for me. Like, that environment was not the vision I had for my life. So even though I was coming back home to sleep in the night, in fact, what I did was I would go to work very early, and then I would stay even past 5 p.m. I'll stay until maybe it's like 7, 8, then I'll start going home. Because I didn't just want to be in their environment. Sometimes weekend or Fridays I'll go back to my parents' place, which was far better than where I was there. But what I did then was that, despite the fact that my environment was not good, I made sure that my mindset did not settle with that environment. I, posted pictures of where I wanted to be in my room, and every day when I look at my pictures, I'm like telling myself that this is not my final bus stop. I'm not going to stay here forever. I'm just, because of situation and everything, and I'm not going to stay here forever. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people who are in the trenches, they tend to limit their self, limit their mindset to basically where they are at the moment. Because they don't see the possibility of making money. In the trenches, they are the kind of jobs that are available to people in the trenches, and those kind of jobs. So they just feel like, oh, especially if you were born there, you just feel like this is the kind of job I'm supposed to go into, because this is my environment. So environmental background, another challenge to wealth creation is basically not allowing the place you are, your physical location, determine where you want to be, right? And then the third and final challenge is trauma. A lot of people go through bad events, negative experiences. Like if you watch my documentary, I don't know why is this thing disappearing after I mentioned trauma. Is it going through trauma? So anyway, in my documentary I shared a lot about where I had been, a lot of things I had to experience, and how I had to heal from all of those experiences to get to where I am. And trauma holds a lot of people back in that, they've experienced this hurt, they've experienced this negative thing, they've experienced this, past negative events. Maybe they were cheated on, maybe they got into business with somebody and the partner ran away with all the money, all the funds, and then now they don't want to share their ideas, they don't want to collaborate with someone else because they still feel like, oh, if I do this business with this person, they're going to take my money, they're going to run away. Trauma holds a lot of people back, and it's one of the challenges to wealth creation. So let me just go to the next slide so that I'll just say. So what I was going to say is past experiences are not forecast for future experiences. Trauma can be huge. And yes, I'm a living case, I'm a living testimony. I went through a whole lot. When they say she's going through a lot. Yes, I saw shaggy. So understand that wealth creation and accumulation is not a respecter of color, race, or career path. So we discussed that in the first point, which was racism bias. So you should understand that wealth creation is not a respecter of color, race, or career path, right? And then the second one that is why your physical environment could hinder your ability to create wealth. So for instance, you're living in the trenches. There are limited jobs available. There are limited jobs available to people who are in the trenches, right? So to people, but you should understand that your physical environment, it could actually hinder your ability to create wealth. For instance, if you have someone that you want to pitch a very big idea to, and they're like, oh, take me to your office. I know your office is in your small trenches place. And you bring that person to that place, they'll be like, I don't think I want to invest in this particular business. So yes, it could actually hinder your ability to create wealth. But then your mental state or your mental environment is much more important to wealth creation and can trigger the change in your physical environment. I talked about what was going on in my mindset during that time that I stayed in that place. In fact, I decided that, okay, it's just to come home and sleep, or go to that place. I won't go that home. It's not home. So it's just to go to that place and sleep in the night, and I'll wake up very early and run out and go to work. All that was in my mind is that this is just temporary. It's not a permanent situation. So that is how your mindset should be. If you find yourself in a similar situation in that kind of environment, you need to understand that it's your mental state, your mental environment it's much more important to wealth creation and can trigger the change that we desire in our physical environment. So because I did not settle for what I had, I was able to work my way through, apply for better jobs, start working on better ideas, and eventually I left that place. Thank you. Glory to God. Hallelujah. So I talked about the third one, which is past experiences are not forecast for future experiences. Trauma can be healed. So the next one we're going to be talking about is the innovative thinking idea for turning your ideas into wealth. So we're going to be talking about the 4 actionable steps to deploy. So the first one is understand the major hindrance. I'm just going to read it out because I explained them. I explained all of these points for the slides. So the first one is understand the major hindrance. Number 2 is determine its origin. Number 3 is try the mental clapback system. Number 4 is explore your innovative ideas. So number 1, can we say it together?
Understand the major hindrance.
Number 2,
Determine its origin.
number 3,
Try the mental clapback system.
and number 4,
Explore your innovative
Thank
ideas.
you very much. Clap for yourself. You're wonderful. So the first one, we're talking about the first one now. Number 1 is understand the major hindrance. So when I say understand the major hindrance is, we're talking about the challenges. We talked about the challenges at first, and now we're going to the solution. That's the innovative thinking idea for turning your ideas into wealth. And we're talking about the 4 actionable steps to deploy to, turn your ideas, all of your ideas into wealth. And the first one is understand the major hindrance. So you need to understand what is stopping you from achieving your goals. What is that thing? You have a goal in mind. You have something that you desire to achieve, a goal that you want to achieve, a goal that you are working at. What is actually stopping you from achieving those goals? What is actually stopping you from being that person that you want to be? So is it fear? Is it self-doubt? Is it some limiting beliefs? Is it negative thoughts or talks? So is it fear? For instance, you want to build an app for the developers, right? You want to build an app and it has this amazing feature that you've never found in any app. You just got this idea that, oh, I want to build this app. It's going to have this and this and this. It's going to be able to do this, do that, and do that. And you've gone through your Play Store and App Store and you've downloaded every app downloadable, related to that, maybe that path, and you haven't found a single app that has that particular feature that you have in mind. That is, a creative thinking. That is, being original. That is adding something new, to something that already exists, which is, the app. But now you want to build this app, but then there's something stopping you back. And maybe it's because you are scared that there won't be massive adoption for it, or you're scared that maybe you write the code and everything after you're done with everything, and when people download it, instead of them downloading your app, they're downloading another person's app. Maybe it's just like an error, and it could be something that happened in the past, something that happened to your app before. You probably built an app and you experienced this. So this is like actually a real fear, right? It's a real fear, and you fear that, oh, it could happen again. Now, because of that particular fear, you are not working on this app. You have this idea, it's very nice in your head. You know that, oh, this could actually make you a lot of money, this could actually gain massive adoption, this could actually bring in global relevance to you. But you're scared of working on it, you're scared of putting it to work, you're scared of putting it to the text because you are scared. You have this fear that, oh, what if, because I did this before, what if it happens again? So that is fear. Then the next one is self-doubt. Believing that, oh, I can't do it. I don't think I can build an app that a lot of people are going to accept. I don't think I can build an app that basically every single person, they are going to download it, right? You have this doubt that, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You have strong self-doubt, and that's basically why you're not working on that idea. So you need to understand what it is. So if it's fear, you understand, okay, I'm scared because this happened in the past. This. And then negative thoughts. Oh, limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs are those things that we hold to be true about ourselves, about other people, about the world, that holds us back. So they hold us back from being that person that we want to be, from experiencing all the things that we desire to experience. Those are limiting beliefs. We hold them. For instance, we talked about racism bias. The people who believe strongly that if they don't leave the shores of Nigeria, they can't make money. Now that is a limiting belief to them because it's going to hold them back. No matter So the next one is negative thoughts and negative thoughts. So a lot of times we do it most times. Sometimes subconsciously we just talk some negative things. Oh, I don't think I can ever do that. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think I can ever build an app. Maybe someone is going to say, your app is going to be global, it's going to be of global standard, and you just talk yourself down on it and tell yourself that, oh, it's not going to happen. These are negative talks, and then also thinking about it. Sometimes we may not say it out, but we're thinking that, oh, this will not succeed. We're having this thoughts. So you need to understand the major hindrance. Understand what exactly it is. If it's you that have been talking yourself down on every single thing that you believe or every single thing that you desire to build, then you need to understand what exactly it is. Then who do you need to become to be that person? Who do you need to become to achieve that goal? Who do you need to be currently? So we have a goal in mind that we want to achieve this particular thing. But the person that we are right now may not be the person that will be required to achieve that goal. You may need to become someone else, maybe upgrade your skill, upgrade your mindset like we talked about earlier on. So you may need to become a higher version of yourself. So who do you need to become to achieve that goal? So those are the two questions you need to ask yourself when it comes to understanding the major hindrance that is holding you back. Is that okay? All right, thank you. And then the next one is determine its origin. Like we can see from the picture here, we know no tree just likes to grow, and then it just grows from here. And then maybe you can carry the tree and put it here. So, oh, I like this tree to be in this place, and you carry the tree and put it here. So no tree is like that. There's always a root downwards, down. So that's basically how it is with all of our fears. It has its roots downwards. It has its roots. So just like a tree doesn't just spring up without its roots. If you cut it and you don't uproot the roots, that tree can spring up. So when you're determining its origin, you want to determine its origin, you need to check it from its roots, because you need to understand where that particular thing came from. If it's fear, where did that particular fear come from? Because you need to destroy it from the roots when you want to start destroying it. So okay, we talked about where did it stem from. So is it your environment? Like now I talked about when I was in the trenches, right? So perhaps when I lived there, I did not fortify my mind. I did not plead the blood of Jesus on my mind and not get restricted to that environment. And maybe I was just liberal with the environment. I was taking in all the energy and giving back. And I just believed that it's what I have, is where I am, and that's what I can get. And maybe this is where I should even be there. Maybe this is where I can be forever. I can give birth here. I can start giving birth to my children here. So it could be when I want to start working on something grand. My environment could be stopping me back because I've accepted that environment as like this is the norm, especially for people who were actually born in those kind of environments. They've accepted that environment as a normal way of experiencing things. They've accepted the environment. Now when they want to build something, something that is going to be of global relevance, right? They want to build something of that standard. Their environment tends to hold them back. Tends to hold them back in the sense that they're like people from this kind of community. They don't used to build that board that they used to play in the sand. They don't used to do this one is smoke that they used to smoke. They don't used to do like this. They have that environment is ingrained in their mindsets, and they feel like okay, they just have to confirm or they just have to accept their environment and make do with what they have with that environment. So another one is upbringing. So for some people who were raised by Nigerian parents, sometimes when you go and ask them for money, they'll tell you, I don't know if your parents were like that, but then they'll be like, do you think money grows on tree? Please, Abeg, give me a loan. You ask for 10 naira. They're like, go and work it now. You think making money is easy. You think making money is easy. If it's easy, go and pluck it from the tree. You had that kind of upbringing that it felt like, when you constantly heard that thing, those kind of words, your mindset is that, you know, making money is hard. So you can't just be up and about and make a lot of money. You're going to have to work hard. You know, people with that kind of upbringing, they tend to have that kind of mindset. So you need to understand where it came from. Okay, I want to do something. I want to build an app. I don't know why I keep on using app, and I don't even know how to do anything. So you want to build an app or anything, and then you had the mindset that, oh, your upbringing, they are telling you that, oh, at this age you should go and maybe go and get married or go and do this, and you should not be thinking of your brother was a carpenter, your father was a carpenter, your great grandfather was a carpenter. What are you thinking of doing that? Please keep that phone, you know, yeah, or keep that. I don't know if it's phone they used to do that phone, but I just know that app is on phones. Anyway, so upbringing, your upbringing could also limit you. So you need to understand or find out, is it actually my upbringing that is stopping me from chasing this idea, working on this idea, going for this idea? Then we talked about past experiences. I'm just going to link it up with trauma. Past experiences, when you've had past experiences of, like I talked about, maybe you worked with a partner in a business, and you know that particular partner just went away with all the money, just carted away with all the money. I've heard stories like that. How that particular partner just went away with all the money for the business, and you're left with nothing. And maybe both of you had the business idea together. Like I know of one particular story which is even very, very recent, that they even had to take the case to court. Is my friend, he started a business with, you know, partners, they were 4, and then one of them left, and so they became 3. Then the other 2 people decided to gamble and say they want to take over the business. You know, and it was his idea, he shared it with them, and they decided to build it together. Now, someone like that, when I asked him, okay, because they eventually took the case to court, and he decided that he was going to step down for them because he had his shares in the company. So since they decided to merge their shares together, the other 2 people, and you know, work against him or plan against him and plan his coup or plan his exit. So I was asking him, so what are you going to do from here? Are you going to build another idea? He said, no. I said, I just want to stay. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to build anything again. In fact, now nobody, if I want to do anything, I'll work on my own. I'm not going to bring anybody. I said, okay, well, calm down. just take it easy. So past experiences could also stop some people from, you know, working on their ideas, right? And then the 4th one, is that the 4th? Okay, it's the 4th. So the first one is societal acceptance. So I'll also mention with environment. So you've decided to conform to what the society says about, you know, the kind of things that can be achieved in a particular environment. What the society thinks can be achieved in that particular environment. You know, there are some people who think that, oh, because you're a Nigerian, you can't do this. Because you're a Nigerian, you can't build this kind of business, you can't achieve this kind of things. The people who believe that. That's why when a Nigerian just breaks the record, like, you know, Toby Amusan, you know, they're celebrated because they're like, oh, so a Nigerian will think, oh, so I can do it, right? So societal acceptance is also one of that. Then the next one is to try the mental clap back. So I just basically came up with this for a way to overcome all of these negative beliefs and negative ideas, negative thoughts, and all that. So the first one that we have here is affirmation. Now I didn't say affirmation. I know you're probably familiar with affirmations. Oh, I can do it. I'm strong. I'm beautiful. I'm handsome. You know, those are affirmative words, and that's actually good. But then affirmation is different from affirmation. Now, the reason I do not actually write affirmation here is because a lot of people who haven't actually healed from their trauma or their past experiences, negative past experiences, when they use affirmations, when they use affirmations, they tend to eventually give up. So you see someone saying that, oh, I am good, I am smart, I am intelligent, and you know that person it's coming from a place where maybe when he was in class, in school, very young, at a tender age, they asked a question in the class, and he answered the question, and he answered it very, very wrongly. And the teacher said everybody should shame at him, everybody should laugh at him, and they laughed at him. Now that particular experience would store in his subconscious. Now, we don't actually forget things. We don't forget things. If we say we forget things, we just have a bad way of recalling them, because your subconscious never actually forgets anything. The subconscious never forgets anything. So that experience, going back to that particular child, so everybody laughed at him, and then maybe he went into high school, and they told him to come and maybe lead the prayer in the morning devotion, and maybe he went off stage, and then he started to stutter, and everybody laughed at him as well. And that particular story I just shared is my experience. So I had this experience when I was very little. I prepared for like a stellar speech. I think I was still a teenager, about 13 or thereabout, 13, 14, 15, I can't remember. And it was a teens church, and they said I'm going to like give a speech. And throughout the night I prepared very well for that particular speech. But then when I got up to the stage, the podium to actually talk, I just could not find the words. I started to stutter, and like you can hear me clearly, I don't stutter. I have never stuttered until that time. And these are all teenagers. They were all laughing at me. Ha ha ha! You cannot talk. Please leave there. You know how teenagers behave. And that day I just wished that the ground just opened up and swallowed me. Started crying, and then I ran off the stage. Now since then, until when I grew up and I was much older, I ran away from anything coming to speak in front of people, because I'll be like, what if I stutter again? So perhaps this young guy had this kind of experience, and he was always having this experience. Now, when maybe he has an opportunity to share his idea, maybe a very nice idea, fantastic idea that he's been working on with some key shareholders or key people that are going to actually invest in that particular business that he's thinking of starting. Now, he may start affirmation and start saying that, oh, I can do it. I am good. I can talk. Now, what happens is that your mindset, when you say that thing, your subconscious will go to work and start searching for, okay, experiences. What experiences back up this particular thing? Okay, you say you are good, you can talk. Then you all of a sudden, something that you think you are forgotten, all of a sudden you just remember that, oh, when I was in school, when I was in primary school, they asked me a question and I did not get it, and everybody laughed at me. Well, when I was in high school, I was called to the assembly ground and they asked me to give a speech, and I started to stutter. Now, the person is saying that thing, oh, I can talk, I can speak, I'm a great speaker, I'm a great orator, and your mind, you're just remembering all the bad things that happened, and you think that you've forgotten. So when you start remembering all of those things, you start having all of those experiences, remembering all those things, what happens is that positive thing, that positive thought that you're saying, I am good, and I can speak, I can do this, you just find out that you just stop saying that. But then with affirmation, so affirmation is basically asking positive questions. So instead of saying that, oh, I am a good speaker, I'm a great speaker, you could ask the question that, oh, why are these many people clapping for me after giving my speech? Now what happens in your mind is that your mind goes into search mode. Just like when you type something on Google and you search, okay, now it's chats, GPT we use, right? And then you search and then it comes up with the answer. And that's basically what your mind is doing. So when you ask that kind of question, you're not saying, oh, I'm a great speaker. You're saying something like, oh, why are these many people clapping for me after giving a fantastic speech? That's like a question. Now what your mind is doing, your subconscious is looking for experience. Where did this happen? Where did this pim is searching the database of all the experiences that you've had. Because like I mentioned earlier on, you don't actually forget anything. Everything that ever happened to you is stored somewhere. It's stored somewhere. That's why some people can see certain things and then they just start to cry. It's not because they may not remember what happened, but it just triggered a past experience similar to what they are experiencing that made them cry. Right? So back to what I'm saying, your mind, your subconscious is thinking and is looking for an experience that actually supports that question. You know, you ask the question, you didn't actually say anything. And you know, when you say that kind of question, I know what you're thinking in your mind. You're already imagining the many people that are clapping for you, right? Like when you say, ask the question like, oh, why are these many people clapping for me? In my mind, I'm already seeing a lot of people actually clapping. So when you say that, and your mind, while your mind is trying to look for answer, it doesn't see any answer. It just eventually like gives up, right? It doesn't bring any experience to counter it. So that's basically the difference between affirmation and affirmation. So for people who haven't actually dealt with their traumas and past experiences, affirmation may be very good to try. And then the second one is to create new experiences. So like I mentioned, when you're asking the question, in your mind, you're already thinking of a new experience. You're already thinking of, you know, these many people who are clapping for you. You know, it never happened, but right, you're creating that experience. So that's create new experience. And then the third one is to counter the negative with positive, which is like affirmations, right? So you're, anytime a negative thought comes in, you know, you're countering it immediately with a positive thought. Then the fourth and final one is to speak back to scriptures. I personally love this one because God's word is like a manual for our lives, right? Just like we have. I remember one time I bought an oven and I tried all I could and I didn't know how to use it. In fact, I just did not even know what to do with it. And just as I was giving up on it and I decided to pack it to one side, I was packing it back into the carton and then I found a leaflet. And I saw that, oh, that was the manual. So I just picked it up and I was looking at it. They said, oh, you turn this place to the left. I said, oh, you turn it to the left. I was looking at it and I was turning it. And you turn this place, put this place upwards. Oh, you do it like this. So I turned it, I switched on everything. Like I just followed the manual, like the instructions they gave. Do this like this, do this like this. And I did that and I realized I started working. At first, I actually thought I bought a fake thing. Because I was this Nigerian people. They sold something fake to me now. How, like, I just wasted my money. That was what I was thinking. But the problem was not the fact that they sold something fake to me. The problem was just that I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to use it. And once I learned how to use it, it was easier for me. So speaking back to scriptures, God's word is like a manual to us. So with that manual, like when I'm faced with fear, I just look for scriptures that talk about, you cannot be scared, and basically all the scriptures that says that, oh, I am not scared. Maybe if I'm thinking that, oh, I can't do this. Maybe I'm faced with a very big task and I think that I can't do it. I just look for scriptures that tells me that I can do all things. Like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I just keep on ruminating on that word, and eventually it just catches up, and I feel like, oh yes, I can actually do it because this is not my word. It's not my word. It's the manual. It's God's word. It's God's word to me. And since it's a manual, it's something I'm supposed to live by, right? And then the final one is to explore your innovative ideas. So, explore your innovative ideas. Now, you've understood the major hindrance. You've understood what is actually holding you back. You found out that, oh, it's from your father's side that this particular hindrance is coming from. It's from the fear that you learned. Then the third one is to try, you've tried affirmations, you've created new experiences, you've countered the negative words and the negative thoughts with the positive ones and positive thoughts. And then you've cooked up scriptures, maybe 5, 10 scriptures that actually support what you want to achieve. Then the next one is to start exploring your innovative ideas. You should remember that you don't have to see the whole staircase. All you need to do is to take the first step. So if you're going to climb a 10-story building, like I met my dad today and he was telling me that he usually, their office is a 10-story building and he climbs everything, like every day he climbs it in the morning. And I was like, why don't you just take elevator, and he said no, he just wants to use that exercise. So for instance, if he wants to climb that 10-story building right now, he's going to start at the first step. Now he knows that he wants to get to that 10th floor, but if he stands at that first step and he doesn't take a step, he's going to remain there for hours. He's not going to move an inch. But when he takes the first one, then he takes the second one, he takes the third one, and he just keeps taking the steps as he sees them. Because the truth of the matter is that as you take the steps, you're going to see clearer. A lot of people are waiting for purpose to find them. A lot of people are waiting for that big idea and they don't want to do anything. They don't want to take any action. They don't want to do anything. They just feel like, oh, until I get this big idea, I should just wait for it to come. Right? There's something that one of my mentors used to say. He said it may not be the actual thing, but it may be the thing that will lead to the thing. So it may not be what you actually want, but it may not be that big idea that you're looking towards attaining. But it could be the thing that would actually lead to the thing. For instance, I studied accounting, and after NYSC, during NYSC, I actually got posted to a radio house, a broadcasting company, a broadcasting firm. And while all my peers were like, oh no, Juliet, you studied accounting, you should work in the maybe Ministry of Finance. In fact, I even had a friend that I met during the 3 weeks, I don't know if it's still 3 weeks now, but then 3 weeks, what do you call it, camp with her. So she studied accounting and she got posted to the Ministry of Finance, and she was telling me, just tell them to reject you. I will talk to my boss and he will accept you. So just tell them to reject you. When I talk to my boss, you just go back to the secretariat and tell them to give you Ministry of Finance at PPA. But I just felt relaxed. I didn't want to go through all that stress. I don't like stress in my life. So I didn't want to go through all that stress. So I just said, don't worry, just leave it. It was not like, because I wanted to be, I always wanted to be a chartered accountant. So my plan was that, just serve, just do your NYSC, and after serving, you would go back to your accounting career and all that. So that was what I did there. I just served, and actually I've always hated English until then, because they told us that before you go on air, you have to write out your script. So I had to start asking Google how to write a script, how to write a story that people would like to read. So that was actually where I started learning writing from. And at the end of the time, at the end of the day, after serving for 1 year, when it was time to leave, they gave me an award for best people serving commenter there. This was someone that in fact my boss told me, you studied accounting, do you want me to reject you so that you can go find something that is actually useful? But then I just told him I don't want to go to university, and I went there. So after my NYSC, after I was done with NYSC, I started looking for jobs. I applied for all the accounting jobs. I didn't get one single interview. And then I started applying I said, okay, I think I have writing skills. I can employ that skills. At least when I was serving for 1 year, I wrote my script every single time I had to go in there. So at least I can employ that, maybe apply for content writing jobs. So that was what I started doing. So I started applying for content writing jobs. And they called me for one, they said I went for an interview. In fact, as I decided to start applying for content writing jobs, that's when I got the first one. I went for the interview. In fact, that was the first time that I was getting an interview, and I've been applying for accounting job. I was like, if I know now, I just started with content writing. Why did I start stressing myself with accounting? But my goal was that, I'll just work and maybe get some money and then go back to do my ICANN and get chartered and all that. But that was the intention. Well, because of that experience, okay, the first job I went for the interview. They told me they'll get back to me. They still haven't got back to me too. I'm still waiting for them. Then the second one, I went for the interview and I got the job. That was the job I was working in Lekki and where I had to stay with the trenches and all that. But why am I saying this? When I was serving for that 1 year, it was actually what got me the job was the fact that I had that 1 year experience writing. I had to tell them, I had to tell myself, no, I was writing every single day for 1 year. I was writing. I learned how to write, I learned how to do this. That was what actually got me the job. I had to tell myself that I could write, and that was how I got that first job. But why am I saying this? When I was serving them, it was not like the main thing. In fact, right now, the truth is that I did not actually go back to studying to do accounting. Like that dream just just died. I'm not shattered anything. I'm Juliet. They did not shatter me to come here. Anyway, what I'm basically saying is, it felt like it was not the thing then, but I just kept at it. So it may not be the thing that you're looking at. When I got that first job and I discovered that, I think I love writing. So I went into copywriting, then I went into digital marketing, and basically that's been my career path for years now. I've not even decided that, let me even go back to this accounting. The certificate that I spent years to earn, I've not used it to work since I graduated. So then it didn't look like the thing, but I just did it. It may not look like the thing. You may not look like, this is not the idea I want. I don't want to start working on this. What I want is this stellar idea, this is there, this is there, this is there. But it may not look like the thing. You may have this little idea that when you work on it, you get experience, you get exposed, and then you are able to work on bigger ones. So have that in mind that it may not be the actual thing, but it may be the thing that could lead to the thing, right? So the second one is don't let your mindset kill you. So we've talked about that a lot. So I'll just move on to the third one. And the third one is overcome the 5 different types of fear. So in my book, which is The Magnetic Mind, I talk basically about these 5 different types of fear. For the sake of time, I'm not going to be able to expatiate on all of them, but I talk about these 5 different types of fear a lot in my book. And the first one is fear of criticism. We don't want what will people say. I had that fear, but I don't want to go into details because it will take too much time telling the story. So fear of criticism, what will people say? What will people say? What will people think? Do they think that I don't have money, that's why I'm starting this business? Having that kind of fear. And the second one is fear of asking. So fear of asking, I don't mean fear of doing Bambiala, but fear of asking. Sometimes we have great ideas that we can actually collaborate with people, and it will, they will support our dreams, support our vision. But we are scared that, what if they say no? Yes. What if they say no? Maybe you know that this particular person has this dream, like me, and he can invest in this idea, and then you are scared of asking them to do that because you're thinking, what if they say no? What if they don't agree? What if they think my idea is nonsense? And then the third one is fear of the unknown. You don't know what will happen, but you're just scared. I don't know. What if it doesn't succeed? You're having all that fear. And then the fourth one is fear of failing. You're scared that, what if it fails? What if it flops? What if this doesn't go as planned? And then the fifth one, which is not very popular like the other ones, is fear of success. A lot of people don't know that fear of success exists. I remember talking about fear of success, and someone actually asked me that, why would I be scared of success? And I told the person that a lot of people, in fact, it plagued me for a very long time, and I didn't know. Because when you have the fear of success, you're like, okay, actually, personally for me, what happened was, when I started writing, I think in 2016, thereabouts, and after a while, when people start, on Facebook, I was, active writing, but after a while, I would stop writing. I'll be like, what if I keep writing like this, and, I do it one day, and one day, while I'm already there in spotlight, I run out of ideas. I don't know what to say. That is actually the fear of success. I'm scared that, okay, what if this happens, and then I don't know what to say anymore. And then another fear I was having is, okay, what if people have blown like that, and one day Instablog just carries my gist, and they say this is what Julia says, maybe in a negative light. How am I going to, I didn't want to deal with all that, and I'm like, if I do this, they will start judging me. I have to be very careful about what I do, where I go, and all that. So that was like a fear, but it was from the place of, okay, if this succeeds, if this goes as planned, this is what could happen. I was scared, and that was what was holding me back. And then the fourth one is tame your tongue. I think we've talked about that a lot as well. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So you need to tame your tongue. Don't use your own mouth to spoil the thing that you desire to build, you want to build. And then the other one is give yourself grace. Now why I said give yourself grace is because now you've heard all these wonderful things that you could do to combat your fears of turning your wonderful ideas into wealth. But then you're like, you started working on them, maybe you started combating, countering your negative thoughts anytime they come, or your negative thoughts with positive. You've used affirmation, you're using scriptures, the word of God, to combat all those fears. And then you feel like, oh, nothing is happening. And you go back to your limiting mindset, limiting thoughts. You start talking down on yourself. Oh no, you can't even get anything right. Even this small thing, this common thing, you can't get it. You need to give yourself grace, because you can't undo in 5 minutes what took years to build. All of these experiences, you had all these experiences from childhood or whatnot, and these experiences, they are deeply ingrained in you. So if you want to overcome them, it's not going to take 5 minutes. So you can't undo in 5 minutes what took years to build. So you need to give yourself grace. Then the final one is to understand that everybody starts at ground zero. Now what I mean is that when you're, a lot of times, people hold themselves back because they're like, oh, Falake is already doing that, so she's already doing that business. If I enter now, will I be able to succeed? Will I be able to make it? This person has already built that kind of app, or if I do this now, will I be able to make it? Will my app even, she's a very popular person, me, I'm just starting out. But I think when in a race, for instance, people are like that lady who won, that Nigerian popular lady in the race. Who remembers her name? Exactly, I called her name earlier. So, for instance, when she was in the race, I'm just saying for instance, I don't know, I was not with her because I can't remember. So when she was probably in the race, maybe there are people who had won that race in time past. So what if she was running alongside all those people, and those people were running in that particular race? That's people who had won the previous race before. Now, if you're in that kind of situation, you should understand that, oh, this race is a new race. Just because you've won before, they are not going to bring your scores. Okay, this person won this particular race in this one, so you put the scores behind them, and they'll start this race with that particular score. No, everybody will start at ground zero, and it will take. So now, someone who have won the race before, they can come feeling like, oh, I've done it before, so I can do it again. That doesn't mean that because you've done it. Of course, it gives you an edge. But then, if someone who prepares better, who has studied, and they're like, oh, I must win this race. If they do that, they're definitely going to put in all the effort, and they could likely win. So you need to understand that everybody starts at ground zero. So when you're building your app, understand that, oh, I'm playing my own race. I'm not adding the experience of other people to that, oh, they are going to be competing with me and all that. Understand that everybody starts at ground zero and work with that. All right. So thank you so very much. I think thank you for this one. Thank you so very much for your